Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Animat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Yeah! How are you all doing, everyone? Oh, I already hear the celebrations have begun. Thank you, MetaRalph, for the subscription right there. Anyways, as I was saying, how have you all been doing? Have you enjoyed your weekend, by the way? Have you went to go and watch any of the new big movies that came out? Because don't you worry, I'll even say this right now, that is going to be one of the stories that we will be covering. And already, like, some people are excited to hear that story. Thank you, Gordon ZX, for the subscription right there. But yes. Anyways, even though this has been a very major week for both movies and for cinemas everywhere, and I will be talking about it, there are still plenty of other things to go and discuss, because when it comes to entertainment news, oh boy, have there been so much going on. And even me, I have to admit, I've had quite a crazy week, even in my personal life, even when it comes to work and all that kind of stuff, to the point where during the weekend, I did need one day where I just needed a break. In fact, I actually went with friends just to go on the beach and to just soak in on the sun. Oh, and I do see that on Twitch, since I did get a gifted sub, or that Juju got a gifted sub, we do have a hype train going on already on the Twitch stream of Animat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. That is very exciting to see. Hey, definitely, we're starting off great on this, and trust me, we will need to go and have a good start to really enter ourselves into a real fun-filled episode. So with that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and now I would like to ask you all, are you ready for today's episode of Animat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Are you all prepared now? Let's see what we got here now. Let's see, are people ready? Ah, there we go. I see people are all prepared. People are excited. That's great to see. And now, with that said, now that we got the excitement rolling along, and let's hope we can keep that excitement going, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. You know, I just gotta say, I kind of realized that I almost made a mistake, and I thought I was going to say, like, I wanted to say Barbieheimer, but then again, like, I know it's technically Barbenheimer, but I almost said Barbie Hammer, which, I mean, kind of makes sense. It feels like it rolls off the tongue easier. But anyways, that's not what I'm here to go and discuss about. What I am here to go and talk about is regarding, yes, Barbenheimer, both Barbie and Oppenheimer. What is debatably the most what is debatably two of the most anticipated movies of this summer, coming out back to back, and now that it has officially been released, oh boy, are cinemas more packed than ever. In fact, I would even say that this is the first time since the pandemic that I have seen cinemas becoming this busy. Now, I know that there have been a few movies that people have already said that, you know, like, cinema is, like, back in shape and better than ever because of movies like Top Gun Maverick, or Minions Rise of Gru, or Avatar The Way of Water. But it's especially with Oppenheimer and Barbie that it made going back to the movies really exciting again. And this is especially proof with what has happened at the box office. Yes, it has been reported that not only did Barbie and Oppenheimer made a big splash at the box office and accumulated some major numbers, but they have also broken several records. And on my list here on Deadline, it actually does reveal the amount of records that both Barbie and Oppenheimer has broken. And I'm gonna go down one by one with what they have managed to achieve. So when it comes to Barbie, Barbie has broken the record for the largest domestic opening of 2023 so far, beating out the Super Mario Brothers movie. Then afterwards, we got the largest Warner Brothers advanced sales at $49.5 million. Also receiving the largest pre-show of 2023, which it managed to beat out Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It has also managed to earn the largest grossing day of 2023 so far, with $70.8 million, which again, it beat out Super Mario Brothers movie. And it even got the biggest opening ever for a female-directed film, or for a movie that has been directed by a woman, which it did manage to beat out Captain Marvel, or at least domestically, because it did not manage to beat out Captain Marvel's record on the global box office. However, it is worth noting that Barbie did manage to get the second biggest opening worldwide for a movie that was directed by a woman. Then it also broke the record of the largest non-sequel, non-remake film that is released in July, in which it managed to beat out the record for of The Secret Life of Pets in terms of its domestic opening. Then we also got the largest domestic opening for director Greta Gerwig, for Margot Robbie, and for Ryan Gosling, on top of their biggest international opening. We also got the largest opening weekend for a movie based on a toy, which it managed to beat out Transformers Dark of the Moon. It also has the largest non-sequel, non-DC opening for Warner Brothers, in which it managed to beat out the first It movie. And finally, Barbie has surpassed the lifetime grosses of many of the other female-led movies, such as Ocean's 8, Birds of Prey, and Little Women. Now, when it comes to Oppenheimer's records, these ones are a little bit more specific, so bear with me on this one. It is Christopher Nolan's third highest grossing opening weekend ever, both globally and domestically, right behind The Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight. The biggest global day and date opening weekend ever for a biopic, beating out Bohemian Rhapsody. And it is the third biggest opening, or at least maybe domestically, right behind American Sniper and Passion of the Christ. It is also the biggest global opening of a drama since 2019, ahead of Creed 3. The highest grossing opening weekend for an R-rated film, at least this year, beating out John Wick Chapter 4. The best IMAX opening for a Christopher Nolan movie, and the biggest IMAX for a Universal title domestically, and the biggest for July overall and of 2023 so far, with 21.1 million. The third biggest international box office opening for a Nolan film, in like for likes behind The Dark Knight Rises and Dark Knight. IMAX has grossed 13.9 million of the international total from only 329 screens, making it offshore the biggest IMAX start for Nolan the month of July, and the biggest IMAX weekend in Mexico, India, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, Chile, Colombia, Indonesia, New Zealand, and the Czech Republic. The biggest non-superhero Nolan opening weekend in 55 markets, including the UK and Ireland, France, Germany, Australia, Mexico, Spain, and Brazil. And finally, the biggest opening day for a Nolan film in 33 markets, including Saudi Arabia, the UAE, India, Netherlands, Argentina, and Belgium. And the craziest thing is that apparently the predictions that they have made on Sunday, well, they were a little bit inaccurate, because both Barbie and Oppenheimer managed to do so much more. Yes, apparently Barbie's opening weekend, originally it was estimated at 155 million, but as it turns out, it actually made a total of 162 million. So in that regard, if you go add that with the $182 million that it has made overseas, technically, Barbie has managed to gather a total of $344 million worldwide on its opening weekend. And when it comes to Oppenheimer, it has actually collected a grand total of $182.4 million, which is just a little bit higher than its $80.5 million, to which it has managed to make a grand opening total worldwide of $180 million. So that's pretty much the big thing that has happened. And this is not to mention, by the way, that it technically, considering that some people do consider that a double feature, if you do go and combine the total of the opening weekends of both Barbie and Oppenheimer, then the numbers are considered to be astronomical. Like, these are some of the best box office numbers that you could find since Avengers Endgame. Like, it really is that much of a massive deal. And it's honestly quite amazing to see these two movies really bringing back really bringing back the mood of turning blockbusters and just watching the movie, just going to the movies to make it feel like a major event that everybody has to be a part of. And how is it that these two managed to go and really achieve that massive success almost immediately? Well, the big thing about it is when you have to go and look into the entire meme about Barbenheimer, you know, like the whole trend of just making two unlikely movies just paired up together to go and create one major cinematic experience. But why is that? Well, the thing is that with Barbie and Oppenheimer, they both actually have some similarities, where these two are actually highly anticipated films that people have been waiting for years to see come to life. Now, if you know anything about the Barbie movie, then you probably know that it has been through quite a very long journey in order to come to life. It has been several years that different studios tried to go and create a Barbie movie. In fact, even before Universal, Sony was the one who was trying to handle Barbie and trying to turn that into a feature film. And at one point, you had Amy Schumer, I think it was Amy. Yeah, you had Amy Schumer that was once involved with the entire project. But then it didn't really work out. But then it got a second chance down at Warner Brothers, where Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig led the way in order to bring Barbie to life and to turn it into the movie that we do have today. So already through the years of anticipation, a lot of people were really waiting to see how the fridge is Hollywood going to go and take a doll like Barbie and turn that into an entire feature film. But then you also have Oppenheimer, whom that movie is also highly anticipated as well, considering that it is a Christopher Nolan movie, one of the most respected auteurs in Hollywood so far. And technically, yes, the last movie that he created, Tenet, was not really all that great. It wasn't as well received as many of his other features, but you know that when Christopher Nolan hits, man, does he hit hard. Like, he can make something really extravagant. He really does define what is cinema, especially with the feature films that he has made over the years, rather it be Memento, his Batman trilogy, or at least with The Dark Knight, with Inception, and now he is coming back with Oppenheimer, this entire biography about the man who created the atom bomb. So from there, you know that a lot of cinephiles and film enthusiasts were very much keeping an eye on how things are going with that production led by Christopher Nolan. And with that said, even though they have those similarities, they could not be more opposites. And this really is a case of opposites attract. And that is the key factor about Oppenheimer, where despite the anticipation and despite the fact that they were both released at the same time, these two are just completely different movies, where on one hand, you got this very gritty, this very serious drama that revolves around World War II, and that it's all based on the true story, and that it's a movie literally about an atomic bomb and the creation of such a dangerous, deadly weapon that in history did manage to X off a whole, like, hundreds of thousands of people. But then on the other hand, you got this bubbly and very colorful comedy that just wants to really have fun. And even, like, you could tell, especially from the actors, with having a bit of an over-the-top performance, that the big goal is to just have fun, to just give audience a good laugh, and to ensure that they would have a good time while telling their story. And from there, because of this whole thing with how these two opposites seem to attract and that they're both released at the same time, people have pretty much made an entire meme out of it and decided to make this an entire double feature, calling it Barbenheimer, where even though many people are excited for both these films, instead of trying to pit them together and trying to make an entire competition out of it, they decided to go and turn it into a moment of celebration, to turn it into a time where these two people can really come together, or with these two movies that you could just go and have both and just have a double feature that you could go watch one and then immediately go watch another, especially nowadays when it is very rare that we would have a double feature even happen in the first place. So why don't we go and actually make our own unofficial double feature, especially with the fact that, like, with these two movies, they are distributed by two completely different studios, where one is Universal and one is Warner Brothers. We might as well go and actually let's go and actually go and watch them together. And it really does show how the power of memes can really fuel the marketing for a feature film, or in this case, two feature films, and really use that to their advantage in order to make these movies very profitable. Like, we have seen examples of how that can really fail and how the studios will end up with egg on their face, especially with what we have seen last year with Morbius. But in the case with Barbie and Oppenheimer, the meme is based around the idea that people really want to go and watch these two movies, that they want to see these two films paired up together, and that the experience is all about having that double feature more so than it is watching either of these movies. So really, it's the double feature aspect that is the fuel of the meme, and that is fueling both of them to be massively successful. But then again, there is the question, though, when it comes to comparing the two. How is it that Barbie managed to really break the major records, especially the ones for 2023, when compared to Oppenheimer, when Barbie has more or less made double the amount of cash compared to Oppenheimer at the box office? How did Barbie get the upper edge compared to the Christopher Nolan movie? Well, I can pretty much confirm, because I have actually seen both, and I do have my little theory as to why. Now, this is not necessarily the official reason, but I think I know what it is. Because when it comes to Oppenheimer, with that movie in particular, it's the kind of film that you really have to mentally prepare yourself, because we're talking about a movie that's, like, deadly serious, no pun intended. This is a movie that, like, has a very dark tone through it throughout. This is a movie that is very thought-provoking, that it's the kind that really makes you think about humanity, that it makes you think about politics, that it makes you think about science. So this is really the kind of feature that really does make you think while you are watching it. The heavy themes that I've already talked about, this is the kind that it talks about deadly weapons, it talks about creating bombs, it's about World War II, like, it really goes into those aspects, how stuff like bombs and war can really affect everyone, including the people who would go and create the bombs. It also dives in, and not to mention, by the way, the fact that this is a 3-hour movie. And no matter what it is, like, regardless if it's either Avatar or Endgame or Oppenheimer, when the movie hits that 3-hour mark, you know that you have to really schedule and plan out your whole day around watching Oppenheimer. So, and keep in mind, I just want to state, as someone who has seen Oppenheimer, amazing movie, really fantastic, and the elements that I even brought up, like, they did so very, very well, but still, it is the kind that you kind of have to go and mentally prepare yourself. You can't just go and make a last-minute decision to say, I'm gonna go and watch Oppenheimer. Like you really have to go and plan it out, to go and prepare yourself to go through 3 hours of Oppenheimer. Whereas Barbie, on the other hand, Barbie is the kind of film that is much more easy to just jump into. Like, even if it's at the last minute, if your friends would go and tell you, hey, we're gonna go and watch Barbie, do you want to come and join? You could easily go and just say yes, because when it comes to Barbie, you don't really have to do like any major research. You don't really have to go, well, you don't have to do research when it comes to Oppenheimer, but you don't have to like mentally prepare yourself to go and watch that movie, because with Barbie, more or less, you know what to expect. And it primarily is the kind of film that, you know, you want to have a good time, because compared to Oppenheimer, Barbie is a lot more lighthearted. It's a lot more funny. It's a lot, you know, it's a film in which it takes itself a whole lot less seriously than Oppenheimer. And not to mention that it is extremely colorful. Like, it is a pleasant movie to watch. And on top of that, it is also a movie that's just under 2 hours, much more palatable and much easier to sit through than a movie that would be 3 hours long. So, and by the way, I know that technically, yes, some people could argue that there is that comparison with Oppenheimer, where Barbie is also thought-provoking, since it is a it is a bit of a socio-commentary on gender, and it talks about how dumb the patriarchy can actually be. But then again, like, even with that, like, there are things that does make you think, but these are elements that they do so in a satirical way, where they present it in a way that is both light, bubbly, and of course being funny. So even if it does make you think, it is still like the kind that it makes you think in a way that is much easier to digest than in Oppenheimer. So that's why personally I feel like it's much easier for Barbie to go and grab the attention of audiences than Oppenheimer, because like with Barbie, it's much easier to make like a snap decision to go say, I'm gonna go watch Barbie, whereas Oppenheimer, you gotta be like, okay, I know what's gonna be coming up, so let me mentally prepare myself for what I am about to experience. Because in fact, I think the best way to put it is that with Oppenheimer, it is cinema, but with Barbie, it's a good time. And if people would have a choice, if they want to see cinema or if they want to see a good time, then they'll most likely choose the good time than Oppenheimer. But, you know, I'm not bashing one over the other. This is not to say that Barbie is better than Oppenheimer. I personally enjoyed them both. I believe they are both fantastic movies. But honestly, I feel like with the success they have gotten, yeah, it's very well earned. Like, the point is that both Oppenheimer and Barbie got a massive W on this, and I think the whole Barbenheimer meme will stand as possibly the biggest movie-themed meme of 2023, debatably even more so than Peaches. So yeah, honestly, I just want to go at this point and say congratulations to both Barbie and Oppenheimer and the team behind those respective films on a massive victory, or at least in terms of their opening, in terms of their box office opening. And hopefully we will see this success continue on, where they will go and really become profitable movies. And who knows, maybe Barbie and Oppenheimer will set a brand new standard of how movies should be made. Like, hopefully we will see more movies in the veins of Barbie and Oppenheimer. So hopefully it will encourage more filmmakers to do more films similar to that. I mean, it'll definitely encourage studios to go and make more movies like that if it has a great opening like that. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall. And now I want to ask you all, how do you feel about Barbenheimer's big opening. And also, if you have seen either or if you have seen Barbie and or Oppenheimer, I would love to know what you think on this. All right, let's see now. I have to admit, I do want to see Oppenheimer, but honestly, 3 hours, I want to watch it at home. My sister and I saw Barbie opening day and even dressed up in early fashion. Obviously, we weren't the only ones who thought... Obviously, we weren't the only ones who thought and saw people in pink passing by our local theater. I will watch Oppenheimer when it comes out on Peacock with my dad as well. Next Tuesday, I'll see Haunted Mansion with my sister. Barbenheimer is honestly a fun meme, and I'm glad it brought people together. Oh yeah, and this is not even to mention that, like, considering it is such a massive movie event, there are people who do legitimately go and dress up for the occasion. Even at my screening, like, I just went for a matinee to go and watch Barbie on its opening day on Friday. And even on that one, I have seen plenty of people walking out dressed up completely in pink, where some of them even cosplayed as Barbie when watching the film. So that's when you know that there's a movie out there that is very anticipated. Like, when people are legit dressing up for the occasion, that's when you know a movie is a big deal. Let's see. I only got to see Barbie over the weekend, but I gotta say, the fact that people are coming together for 2 entirely different movies, this is my cinema is back moment. The fact that at my screening, I heard an atomic bomb detonate when Mermaid John Cena graced the screen and swinging a brewski was just completely glorious. I'll cap this off by saying that you gotta watch Barbie. It may be the funniest film of the year since Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves. Oh yes, in this house, we stand Alan. Thank you, yes, oh my god. I gotta say, like, for me, the most relatable and probably my favorite character in here has to be Alan. Like, oh my god, just seeing Alan just like on the side as the friend, we all have that one person in our group that we would just consider as the friend. Like, honestly, like, there's just something about him, like, I really do connect with him. And yes, I stand with Alan, like, Alan's represent. Okay, let's see, what else do we have here? Barbenheimer to me is a mix between 2 movies, Barbie and Oppenheimer. We space slugs watched those 2 movies. My girlfriend Elizabeth and my younger sister Shooting Star went to see Barbie, and me and my older brother Jupiter went to see Oppenheimer, and we agree both are good. Okay, interesting. Anyways, what other comments do we have here? After the flash bombed so hard, not even Oppenheimer himself could outdo it. I joked that Barbie would be a Warner Brothers savior. Guess it was guess I was bang on with my prediction. I'm not going to see either movies because Elemental is still in theaters and I need to see it a 6th time, but it is great for Greta Gerwig and all female directors. Also, Ben Shapiro being big mad is always a good thing. I can't wait to see my big fat Greequalizer 3 and Meg Turismo and Red, White, and Royal Blue Beetle. Oh yeah, that is true. Oh my god, yeah, that's just another quick side note to mention that you probably have seen the whole meme about Ben Shapiro being all pissed off about Barbie to the point that he went and he tried to put out a review saying Ben Shapiro destroyed Barbie, and it turned out to be 43 minutes of him complaining nostalgia critic style and destroying a Barbie doll. Really, it's so hilarious to see people like Ben Shapiro, desperately trying to prove the go woke, go broke lie. But then you got movies like Barbie coming in, once again, proving the incels wrong. And it's just, and especially when it comes to Ben Shapiro, in which again and again, he keeps making conservatives look bad to the point where I kind of question, why do you even keep him around when his main job is making liberals look good? When he's pretty much making a complete fool out of himself to the point where his attack, you know, with his conservative comment and with his attacks on things that are woke, like, not only are they not effective, but they just make him look absolutely pathetic. I mean, seriously, I wonder if, like, Ben Shapiro is at the point where he's just used to being an absolute clown. Seriously, it's ridiculous. Like, why are conservatives even keeping him on board? Like, do they not see the reality that woke culture is continuously winning because of people like Ben Shapiro being woke culture's enemies? Like, seriously, like, with an enemy like Ben Shapiro, of course woke culture is going to be around for decades or even centuries to come. All right, I think I only got time for one more comment, and then we're going to move on to our next story. Let's see. I have seen both movies in theaters. For Barbie, it is good despite some problems I have. For Oppenheimer and IMAX, it is fantastic, while putting this as one of my favorite movies of the year. For the box office, I didn't expect both movies to do this big since No Way Home or even Endgame. Barbie is a much needed hit that Warner Brothers need, as it might well gross over $1 billion in the long run, thanks to word of mouth, while Oppenheimer did well for Nolan since the Dark Knight movies. Oh, absolutely. In fact, I would not be surprised if Barbie would turn out to be $1 billion hit. And with that said, or I would even say, like, there could even be a chance that Barbie might even outgross the Super Mario Brothers movie. But anyways, as I was saying, we're going to go into our next break. And when we do come back, we got another trailer that we are going to go and watch, at least to go and cleanse our palate after the whole Barbenheimer talk. And we are going to go and see what could possibly be the next big animated show on Fox. Does this have the leagues to go, or does this have the right stuff to be comparable to something like The Simpsons, Family Guy, and so much more? Well, we will have to find out after the next break. Twitter is dead. Thinking about, we are going to be discussing about Twitter. Yes, another stupid thing has happened on Twitter, and it just so happened to be today. Oh boy, like, this was something that was very unexpected, honestly. Well, or for the most part, a lot of people, like, didn't know that it would happen, like, all of a sudden. Like, we did get a little bit of warnings that this could be a thing, but now apparently Elon Musk decided, okay, now he is officially going to go and take action on it, to which he decided that he is going to completely destroy the entire Twitter brand, and now he is going to be calling it X. Yes, just like the one letter, literally just X. So apparently what happened was that Elon Musk has officially revealed that, yes, he did do the complete rebrand where now Twitter is just going to be called X. In fact, he even removed the iconic Twitter bird logo in favor of just this one X right over here. Like, that's it. And that was apparent. And by the way, I just want to go and give you all the context right now that this was apparently a big dream that Elon Musk always has. Like, he always wants to build, like, he always wanted to go and build this internet empire that is also related to banking and stuff like that, to which he would only go and call it X. And from there, Elon even stated that, like, he even put out a warning, like, at midnight last night, in which he said, soon we shall bid adieu to the Twitter brand and gradually all the birds, in favor of just going all with just X. In fact, we even got one comment here from the CEO of Twitter, which is Linda Yaccarino, to which she actually stated that apparently this could open up like a brand new possibility, a brand new opportunity to get a second full chance for this website to really thrive. To which she stated here, it is an exceptionally rare thing in life or in business that you get a second chance to make another big impression. Twitter made one massive impression and changed the way we communicate. Now X will go further, transforming the global town square. She called X the future state of unlimited interactivity, centered in audio, visual, messaging, payment, and banking, creating a global marketplace for ideas, goods, services, and opportunities. Powered by AI, X will connect will connect us all in ways we're just beginning to imagine. And she said in another tweet, if that's what they can still be called, because that's also another major thing that apparently is considered to be a massive change, where the posts that you would go and make, we're pretty much used to calling them tweets. Like, if you would go and say something on Twitter, you would just go and call them tweets. But in this case here, with his rebranding, Elon wants people to call the posts now X's. If you're gonna go and make a post on X, apparently now you just made an X. Like, hey, check out this X I just made. Like, that's apparently his major thing that he wants to do. So that's pretty much the big thing that everyone on Twitter is talking about. The fact that Twitter is officially dead, and now Elon is rebranding it into X. Now, beforehand, I have mentioned about the fact that on Twitter, or when it comes to Elon Musk, he always wanted to go and build a company that would just be called X. And there actually was a moment in which he had that chance, that he wanted to do his internet empire in which he called it X, because back in the late 1990s, there was a website called X.com, and it was exactly what Elon Musk envisioned for what he wants to do on Twitter, that he wants to make this major global banking website that everyone can go and put their money into, in which he dreams that, like, his X website will be like one of the biggest one of the biggest economy systems in the world. But the only problem was that Elon Musk was so bad at doing his job that X.com became a massive failure, and the entire company behind it was near bankruptcy, which is why in 2000, they decided to fire Elon Musk as the head of the company and replace him with someone else, to which the replacement went to go and fix all the problems that Elon Musk created, and now X.com has been turned into PayPal. Yes, there would be no PayPal if they kept Elon Musk in charge. But then you got the massive problem of what is happening today. The fact that Elon is now changing things up so now he could turn Twitter into the X.com that he really wanted to run. And the worst thing is that considering that he is the one who paid for the website, he is the top, he is pretty much on top of the entire Twitter hierarchy here. There's no one that is above him to tell him to stop. There's no other person who is in a position of power who could tell Elon that what he is doing is wrong and that he needs to step down. Nobody has any power that is above Elon Musk, and that is a massive problem. And especially when it comes to this complete rebrand change, honestly, in my opinion, I find this to be absolutely ridiculous. It is absolute, it is such a stupid decision that you would go and completely change like one of the most iconic aspects of the entire brand, and you just want to change it so that you make it more into your own liking, so that you keep up this failed dream that you tried to do years ago. It's honestly so stupid, because the thing is, when it comes to Twitter, like, it's already this massively established brand. Like, Twitter in its entirety is already part of our entire society. Like, it's already so commonplace. And even if you would say, like, oh, check out what this guy tweeted, people will know exactly what you are talking about. Like, Twitter and its brand has become so commonplace that it is easily recognizable, not just in our society, but even in culture as well. Like, even with all the references that people would do in terms of Twitter, like, people immediately know what they are talking about and people can immediately connect with it. And it's kind of weird that nowadays anything that would go and mention Twitter, whether it be a TV show or a movie, has now been officially been outdated because of this entire brand change. So now and this is the worst worst thing about it is that what Elon Musk is doing, because of his selfish need of trying to revive this dead brand of X.com, because Elon desperately wants to go and run this X company, he's forcing people to try to change their habits, to change their vocabulary when talking about Twitter. Like, almost in an instant, he wants people to immediately stop saying it's not Twitter, it's now X. Or even when people are talking about tweeting, it's no longer tweets, they're called X's. You know, you're Xing something, you know, it's just, I don't know, like, even at that, it just feels like if you're going to be calling them X's or you're going to go and re-X, I don't know, it doesn't roll off the tongue easier than, you know, it doesn't roll off the tongue as well as tweeting, because like at least tweeting makes sense, you know, it makes sense because you're making, you know, you're making sounds kind of like how birds make sounds. But when it comes to X, I don't know, it's just, there's something about it that just doesn't work. It's like Elon is really forcing his brand in a way that just, it doesn't roll off well, and it doesn't seem as appealing also. And especially like when you do look in that aspect where he's forcing people to change their habits when discussing about Twitter, it's absolutely ridiculous because this is something that no other company has ever done, and with good reason. Like, say, for example, you got, like, take a look at Facebook, for example. For the longest time, like, we knew Facebook that it was run by Facebook. Like, Facebook is the big company that runs Facebook and Instagram. But then a few years ago, Mark Zuckerberg decided to go and change the parent company of the name and call it Meta. Now, admittedly, it did take a while for people to get used to the term Meta, but at least like we kind of grew with it. And on top of that, he still kept Facebook as Facebook. He didn't suddenly change Facebook into Meta and suddenly changing everyone's vocabulary so that now you have to call it Meta. Like, no, he knows the importance of the Twitter brand. He knows how valuable that name is, which is why he kept Facebook as Facebook. And even if you look at Google, for example, technically Google is not necessarily the parent company of all of its assets like YouTube and stuff like that. Like, technically, the parent company of Google is Alphabet. But Alphabet doesn't call Google or YouTube or anything else Alphabet. Like, they're not trying to enforce the Alphabet brand. They do recognize that Google and YouTube and all that kind of stuff are still very valuable in terms of their recognition and in terms of their brand. So that's why they kept it as Google and YouTube. With Elon, on the other hand, like, yeah, sure, when it comes to Twitter and when it comes to Elon's companies, like, we have seen that there are some aspects in terms of, like, the parent company of Twitter, he would go and rebrand it as X. Like, we have already seen him changing some company names into just X before. But the fact that he's also doing it onto Twitter, like, that is a part, like, that's honestly taking one step too far, because technically, Twitter is still a highly valuable name. It is still very recognizable, and it still has that massive appeal that has people to come into it again and again and again. But now the fact that he's trying to enforce that X, it makes it so much more unappealing. You're taking something that people are familiar with, and you're replacing it with a generic brand. You know, just earlier today, I actually made a joke that Elon just turned Twitter and just rebranding it as X, just like they did in the movie Food Fight. You know, just, you know, he turned Twitter into Brand X. And some people were even, I saw that some people were even like chanting on Twitter, like the song that they played for Brand X, like Brand X, we're simple and plain, you know, like that kind of whole thing. Like, it just makes it feel generic. It just really makes it feel soulless. But we know that when it comes to Elon Musk, he doesn't care. He only, like, this man is possibly the most selfish person that you could ever imagine on the planet, or at least one of the most selfish people out there, because of his entire greed and his wealth. Like it really is, especially because of the money that he inherited from his family, or the fact that like he's a nepo baby from a billionaire already, that he has no common sense and no understanding of how the real world works. That with this right here, this is going to be a massive drawback, and it could be the thing that might end up killing off the entire website, that it'll end up becoming so unappealing that people would not want to go there. This could be the line that Elon might have crossed, that we could end up seeing a bit of a mass exodus, that people might walk away because Twitter technically is officially gone. I mean, the social media app technically is still there, but the brand and the recognizability of Twitter is completely gone. I mean, technically, Twitter is still in the process of rebranding itself as X, but I can guarantee you now, when the app itself, like when you go on your phones and you see the Twitter logo suddenly it's just changed to X, I think that's going to be the big thing that could turn off so many people, and they're just going to walk out of Twitter. Like, they're just going to be gone. They're going to leave it for good, because who would want to go and post in X right now, especially when it carries all the major problems that Twitter had before the rebranding, like all the technical glitches that keep on happening, the amount of trolls, and like the limitless hate speech that keeps going around. Like, honestly, it's at the point where now like Twitter has become so unappealing, and especially with this X brand name, I don't know. Honestly, I could be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be the one that people are just going to abandon Twitter. The usage is going to go massively low, and we're going to see this whole thing just be entirely gone, that the $44 billion would just become an absolute waste. I mean, technically, this is not the worst thing that Elon Musk has done to the website. This is not the worst thing that Elon has done to Twitter, but it is such an essential core thing that he met, it's such like an important aspect to Twitter that he decided to mess with, to the point that people are just going to leave. Like, what, like, would you, like, here's the big question. Would you want to go and post on X? And that's, that's the biggest question. Like, for people on the internet, where would they rather go and like interact on social media? Would they rather want to go on X, or would they rather want to go on Twitter? That's the big thing. And even nowadays, like, I know Twitter doesn't sound that appealing, but it sounds more appealing than X. So honestly, it's one of two ways. Like, this is either going to go so badly that Elon will have no choice but to revert the branding back to Twitter just to save the company, or he's going to keep the X brand name and he's going to let it dry out to the point where the entire website is going to be officially dead. That's my prediction right there. But overall, this whole X brand is such a ridiculous idea. Like, this really is Elon Musk trying to make fetch happen. He is so blinded by the fact that the first time around didn't work. What makes you think is going to work now? Like, you'll have your crazy aspirations, but it ain't gonna freaking happen, Elon. I'm just saying. All right, so with that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and now I would like to ask you all, how do you feel about X? The fact that Twitter is now officially rebranded as X. I would like to know your opinion on it. Oh, actually, beforehand, here, let me show you, just as proof that they did do this massive rebrand. Actually, let me go and, yeah, maybe there might be a post that they have done. I don't know. Okay, yeah, like right over here. Like, here, we'll just open it and you'll see. Yeah, there it is. They took away the X brand. And now, like, you see you see, like, this is the X right over here. But, the funny thing is that it's still twitter.com. Like, they're still keeping the Twitter handle. They're still technically called tweets. And I mean, even like, even if you do look down, or I don't know if you can see it, but like, they still call it retweets and stuff like that. Like, tweets are still there, but the fact that, like, you see this X, it's just, yeah, it's already unappealing as is. Oh my god, I even noticed, even on top, like, the URL, like the little logo next to the URL, it's officially X. Oh god, so it's already dying as is. Anyways, I do apologize. Let me go into the chat wall immediately. Yeah, when I think about X, I think about punk rock bands in the 1970s that did that song about Los Angeles. Elon is officially clearly giving up at this point. Twitter is officially dead. It was fun while it lasted, and if it wasn't for Twitter, I don't think I would have started networking and first met my animation colleagues at Disney Animation and other artists. Twitter, you were fun, but it's been nice knowing you. Rest in peace. Yeah, pretty much. Twitter, yep. Twitter is over, party folks. Anyways, yeah, I give this change maybe 2-3 weeks tops. I'm a little confused as to how the banking aspect will work, but I don't care if Elon gives me a mansion, 6 times his net worth, and the most expensive car on the market, 50% of his stock, meth, a built-in car, and a personality tracks me down to giving me the sloppiest toppy of my life. I am not calling it X because, frankly, that sounds like a website that houses nothing but porn. If he loves the letter X so much, he should become the X owner. Yeah, I know. Like, what's gonna be next, people? I mean, like, yeah, you're gonna see X presenting a whole bunch of stuff. Like, if you're gonna post something on X, if you post a picture on X, they're gonna be called X Pics, and if you post videos on X, they will be called X Videos. In fact, maybe Elon should go and produce an entire website dedicated to releasing videos called xvideos.com. Oh, wait a minute. No, wait, scratch that. Okay, anyways, let's see here. Suddenly, Food Fight has a reason to exist by pulling The Simpsons and predicted that a company like Twitter will now be rebranded to X. Maybe it is simple and plain. Never thought a bad movie like Food Fight would predict something like this because of Elon Musk's stupidity. At least Mark Zuckerberg didn't go as far as to change Facebook to something generic when Meta came out. Musk's decision of changing X will lead many people to abandon the site more due to Musk's selfishness. Exactly. Like, I know many people can tolerate Elon Musk's stupidity, but if you're going to be at the point where you're messing the recognizability of Twitter, that's where people are just going to go and draw the line right there. In fact, I can imagine, like, with all these decisions, speaking of Food Fight, I can really imagine that, like, Elon Musk is at the point where he's so unstable, where he's pretty much walking around like Christopher Lloyd in the movie, like, you must be Leonard, the manager. I have a proposal to turn Twitter into Brand X. And from there, me and my far-right colleagues will express all the freedom of speech we want and all the genocide we wish upon trans people. Oh, boy. Let's see what else we have here. Not sure if Elon is inspired by either Kingdom Hearts or Food Fight to do this, but seriously, I'm pretty sure Elon just hates Twitter, and now he just wants to destroy the website entirely because leaving it in the dust, especially when you learn that Elon is currently suing the law firm that helped force him to buy Twitter. If there's one person that would define the word petty, it would most certainly be Elon. Oh, absolutely. Like, I've actually seen the video by Legal Eagle in which he actually discussed about that lawsuit going on, which is honestly ridiculous. And Elon has nothing against those people. And not only that, but there's not just that lawsuit, but there's apparently another lawsuit by the former Twitter shareholders that Elon owes like $500 million to them. So yeah, with all the lawsuits going on and all the bills that he's not paying, like, it's, yeah, I think like we are starting to see the beginning of the end of the entire website. Like, it's soon going to die out, and it shows. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. This may be controversial, but I'm getting sick and tired of people going, oh my god, Twitter is dying, Twitter is shutting down, we all need to find other social media sites and all that jazz, because every time someone freaks out over a new update, Twitter stays the same. Sure, they changed the name, but I'm pretty sure people are still gonna call it regardless, and I'm really sick of trying to find a new site for my content to promote just because a dying meme. Also, doesn't that mean and the comment just stopped there. Well, I mean, yeah, but then again, like with all of these things that are happening, you know there's bound to be one of them that, like, I understand some people are believing that this is going to be a case of, like, Boy Who Cried Wolf, and I've already discussed about that aspect before. But it really does feel like the more of these that are happening, the more that it feels like it's becoming more and more possible that it could happen. And in this case here, like, maybe it won't fully destroy the website entirely, but it could end up making it be like the next Tumblr, the one decision that broke people, and to go and make a massive, like, exit, you know, like make a mass exodus where people decided to leave because Twitter is no longer Twitter. It is now called X. Again, do you want to keep posting on X, or would you rather go onto another website to go and promote? Because I can guarantee you there are much better places right now than Twitter. All right, I think I'll read one more comment before we go into the final story. Let's see here. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay, yeah. One thing I have to ask is why? Why would Elon kill the iconic blue bird and replace it with a simple letter? This is honestly one of the stupidest name changes. The new name sounds like a Pornhub. Man, week after week, Elon always knew how to ruin the platform. You know the rebrand is bad when even Six Flags Magic Mountain poked fun at it with X2. Exactly, man. It sounds like one of those things that Elon is trying to be edgy with it, but in reality, it's just dumb. So again, I feel like it's either Twitter is going to remain as Twitter and the X brand is going to be dropped, or Elon is going to keep the X name and like the website might be at its end. Either or. But anyways, we are going to go into one more story at the end, and this one I will say it is a little bit of a personal tale, because there was at one point that I believe that the SAG-AFTRA strike might have screwed over my videos. How? Well, you will see after this. And now, folks, it is now time that we shall go and cap this show off with the grand finale. And with this finale, this is actually going to be a bit of a personal story. Now, I've already shared a little bit about this on social media, but now I want to go a little bit more into detail about this entire scenario. And yes, this is regarding the big Hollywood strike with the WGA and SAG-AFTRA. And funny enough, this actually did start off last week during the last episode of Animat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, where I was talking about the stories that have been coming up, and then suddenly I looked on the side, like I think it was on Deadline, to which there was an article discussing about it, and then I saw a section in which there was one article that felt like I should look into that after this show. And what I was talking about, what I am talking about, is actually regarding this right over here, to which last week SAG-AFTRA has officially announced some new rules for social media influencers, or more specifically for social media influencers who wish to be a part of SAG-AFTRA in the future, who are non-members now but want to join SAG-AFTRA. And they officially announced a rule to which they state that if there is like a social media influencer, rather it be on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, if they accept a promotion from one of the AMPTP studios, which is like among the big studios, and they accept to do some promotional work for them during the strike, then SAG-AFTRA has the right to bar them from guild admission, that they are not allowed to go and enter into SAG-AFTRA because of the fact that their promotional work during the strike means that they went and crossed the line. In fact, to go a little bit more into detail, let me read you what they said here on my source on Deadline. As it states, SAG-AFTRA has issued rules during the strike for social media influencers, and even if you're not a member of the guild but one day want to join, you'll be barred from doing so if you take on promotional work from studios and streamers during the strike. Explicitly written under strike do's and don'ts of the SAG-AFTRA strike website for social media influencers, it reads, any non-member seeking future membership in SAG-AFTRA who performs covered work on services for a struck company during the strike will not be admitted into membership in SAG-AFTRA. And in that regard, for me personally, I honestly freaked out when I saw this and when I was reading this, because I knew that this would mean some pretty grave consequences for my future. Because for those of you who don't know, not only am I a social media influencer, like I'm a YouTuber and a streamer and all that kind of stuff, but also I am a part-time actor, and I have done plenty of experiences both for voice acting and on-camera acting as well. And even right now, I am still working in order to ensure that I can actually have guild membership, that I can be a part of a union like SAG-AFTRA. Now, technically, as a Canadian, I am already a part of ACTRA, but I do also want to go and reach to the point where I can make it to SAG-AFTRA. Like, it still requires me to have like a bit more work until like I can ultimately achieve that. So with that said, I honestly freaked out from this because this feels like the first time where I feel like my two businesses are kind of conflicting with each other. Because there was a part of me that wonders, what do they mean by promotion? Because a lot of the stuff that I do online can technically count as promotion. You know, like what I do on YouTube with my reviews or with my videos and stuff like that. Technically, they can seem like promotion, like especially with my reviews. Like, if you look at my reviews, regardless if they are positive or if they are negative, then at that point, they would go at that point it could technically still be considered still be considered promotions, because in that regard I'm giving attention to this movie. I'm discussing about it. Like, regardless if it's good or bad, it is still like several minutes of attention given to that particular product, which can influence people if they want to go see it or not. And even if I would say something is good or bad, like, people will go and watch it regardless, and that could play a significant factor. So in that regard, it honestly freaked me out a little bit. And I was wondering about like what would be the worst case scenarios, because as you guys know, like I've already stated this last week, I stand in solidarity with the strikers, especially with the actors who are on strike. As an actor myself, like I understand the struggles they are going through. I understand what they are fighting for. It kind of made me worried, like, what should I do at this point? You know, like, if I want to stand in solidarity, do I have to make sacrifices with my videos? I was even contemplating maybe there might be a possibility that I would have to go and delay some upcoming reviews for the purpose of being in solidarity with the actors, and only when the strike would be over, I could go and officially go and release them. And there was a part of me, maybe it's just like the newly released stuff, like my upcoming reviews of Mutant Mayhem or the Miraculous movie or the Monkey King, or maybe like it's all reviews that I would do. I don't know. Like, that's the thing that honestly worried me. It's just, what do they mean by promotion? So in that regard, I decided to take immediate action, and I decided to go and go in contact, first off, to get in touch with the union I am in, ACTRA, to tell them about my situation, what should I do in order to fix the whole thing, and what can I do that is going to be for the best for both my videos and for my business as an actor, so that I don't cross lines with SAG-AFTRA. And they told me that it was a great question, and that maybe I should go and consider asking I should go and ask SAG-AFTRA directly. So I went and talked to them. I went and asked like the same thing. And it took a while, but they did finally answer. And this was the initial response that I did get. Actually, hold on a sec. Let me just, there's some, I realized I forgot to go and edit this image, and I don't want to go and immediately show the email. Hold on a sec. Actually, let me go and cover this. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Maybe if I can, I'll try to, nope, no, that didn't work out. Actually, sorry about that, folks. But anyways, here, I'll just go and read the message as it states. Maybe you do not promote any movies that are produced by or affiliated with the AMPTP companies during the strike. You must limit your promotional work to films not covered by the strike. Okay, so in that regard, it didn't really help me there. Okay, so hopefully I didn't show anything. So it didn't really help me out, and it is still kind of the vague vocabulary that they stated. So I don't know. It still had me a bit worried, and I was still trying to figure out what would be the correct answer for this. Now, it wasn't until I actually found another article that actually went and fully answered my question. It was actually in regards to this right over here. It's this article. It was a few days later that I found. It was, funny enough, it was actually released on the same day as the Deadline article. It was from Variety, called SAG-AFTRA Strike FAQ, How the Rules Apply to Influencers, Journalists, Cosplayers, and More. And this one actually did go a little bit more into detail about some questions that did need to be answered here. And I went to go and check, and it's actually in the first two paragraphs that they did answer the question. And it's right over here. I am a film critic. Can I review movies? And the answer they responded is, absolutely. Critics are not on strike and are not obligated to stop reviewing movies or TV shows. And then there's another one that says, I'm an entertainment journalist. Can I cover movies and TV? And the answer is, yes. Entertainment journalists, whether they belong to a union or not, are not on strike. Even those broadcast journalists who are represented by SAG-AFTRA are not affected, as the strike relates only to the TV theatrical contract. So from there, the good news is that I'm apparently safe. So I'm allowed releasing reviews, and as an entertainment journalist, I'm allowed to keep on doing what I do with this podcast. So at least I am 90 to 95% sure about the stuff that I do is perfectly okay here. You know, it's perfectly fine. But then again, there is still that like 10 to 5% where I was unsure. And there are some things that I am still trying to be careful. Like even for this episode of the podcast, I went and contacted, like I went back to the person that I contacted, and I actually asked them in regards to like, is it okay if I can go and talk about the Migration trailer on my podcast? Like, I'm not affiliated with Universal. They're not paying me to do so. Is it okay to go and give out my commentary regarding that trailer? Now, admittedly, they have yet to go and respond to me on that, but we will see with how it's going to go. But hopefully I'm not crossing lines by doing that action with this episode. And honestly, with this entire experience, just by looking back at this entire thing, like the biggest problem with why I was in this scenario in the first place, it was because of the fact that SAG-AFTRA was not necessarily being clear with what they mean by the word promotion, especially with the fact that they are talking specifically towards non-members. Because yeah, I'm sure that with members of SAG, they're perfectly fine. Like they perfectly understand what they mean by promotion and that you're not allowed to do promotional work. But then when it comes to non-members, that word can be pretty vague, because in a way, I'm not alone in this case. I'm not the only one who was concerned in this entire matter, because there are plenty of other people online who are social media influencers and aspiring union members, and are also actors as well that want to be in the union. Like, they would be a little bit worried if what they would do would be considered promotion. Like, there have been a lot of people who were asking, like, is fan art considered promotion? Is cosplay considered promotion? And all that kind of stuff. stuff. Like, they were worried if what they're doing would legitimately be considered promotion and would be considered crossing the picket line, because many people want to support the actors, they want to support the writers, and they do not want to be on the bad side of SAG-AFTRA. And for the most part, they say that all this is considered okay. I believe what they mean specifically is for people who are paid by the studios to do promotional work. Like, they specifically aim towards like those Los Angeles YouTubers that would go and accept promotional work to go and promote the movies or TV shows that they would do. Like, one great example would be Andre the Black Nerd. Awesome YouTuber, great guy, but a lot of what he would go and do is technically promotional work, where he would be invited to movie premieres, where he would film himself at the premiere, meeting up with the celebrities and stuff like that, where he would receive special gifts to go and promote the show or the movie or whatever. And considering that he is also an actor on the side, I would assume that he is a SAG-AFTRA member. And from there, he can no longer go and do any other promotions, which I can imagine how it could be very heartbreaking for Andre, because that means he cannot do anything with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So I feel sorry for you, Andre, that the strike is preventing you from doing stuff with the Turtles. But from there, yeah, it's just a scenario that just feels confusing. But yeah, that is the good news, is that technically it's only for a specific group of people who are actually getting paid from the studios to actually go and do promotional work, or at least for the most part, that actually seems to be the case. And as for me, like, in this entire scenario, I'll still try to do my best to be very careful with what I am doing. And I'll try to make sure, like, what I do with my videos, like, it doesn't seem like actual promotion for the big name studios. And trust me, the last thing I want to do is to be on the bad side of SAG-AFTRA, because I don't want to screw over my future. I don't want to go and screw with any opportunities that I would like to go and achieve because of like small things that I would commonly do with my videos. You know, like, again, I don't want to be in a position where my two businesses as a YouTuber and as an actor would go in conflict with one another, where one thing I do in here would end up screwing my opportunities with the other. And like, that's the entire situation. That's why, like, I felt stressed during the week. Why, like, honestly, it got me so worried if, like, that means I might no longer release any more reviews as long as the strike would keep going on. But thankfully, that doesn't seem to be the case, but it was just a wild scenario. And I think, honestly, when it comes to ACTRA, if they are going to go and actually have a discussion with non-members, and if they're going to go and talk to people regarding what they can do to support and what would be considered the do's and don'ts, then honestly, they need to be as clear as possible, especially with their definition as promotion. But with all that said and done, yes, I still stand by with the actors. I'm still on their side for sure. And I definitely do hope that the strike will soon be over and that the actors and the writers will get what they are owed and that their livelihoods can be saved. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and now I want to ask your side of the story. How do you feel about this entire story that I've shared with you all? And also, I would love to hear, did you feel like you were in a similar scenario as I was, where you were worried if what you would do would be considered crossing the picket lines from SAG-AFTRA? I would love to know what you think on this. Let's see. I'll be honest, Matt, trying to figure out the guild's language is confusing, as I hope to try and look for scripting jobs that I could build up to be a Writers Guild member. Obviously, I'd want to do so after the strikes, but for your case, I think you should wait to review movies and shows during the strike until after. Like, I think movies and shows before July 2023 are safe for you to review, but maybe you can make editorials on the side. I mean, I do have backup plans just in case, But I don't know. We'll see what I can do. Like I could probably figure things out, and maybe I could still go and release reviews during this time. But you know, maybe I could even add in like a little extra message to go and like raise awareness about the strike and to go and support them. Like I could do that too. Let's see. Any other comments that we have? Oh boy, not much. Come on, people, don't be shy if you want to go and comment on the piece. Let's see. Otherwise, like, if there are no comments, maybe we could just go and cap this off right over here. Who knows? Oh, okay, we got another one. I'm glad that things turned out okay for you. I have a hard time understanding the rules, as some can be so black and white that it's hard to figure out the gray area. Tell me about it. But yeah, honestly, well, I don't know. Oh, okay. So now people are talking. I see. Now the comments are coming up. This honestly did feel confusing. I honestly do understand where SAG-AFTRA is coming from, and I definitely do support them. They need to be more clear about what they mean, but I help people a bit more. But regardless, I do hope these strikes end sooner rather than later. Yeah. Let's see. I also checked the policies about the SAG scenario, and I'm going to be careful about what I do to make sure I have the best respect from the actors. I do hope the people will win this over very soon, as I try to help spread the word on my channel. Exactly. I think this really is the case, that the sooner this entire strike is done with, the better, the easier it will be for everyone, so that, like, okay, whatever we're doing, it's fine. We don't have to worry about crossing the picket lines. Oh, okay. Actually, we have one more to read. Once again, I am firmly on the side of writers and actors, but yeah, when articles like this can be rather unclear about what defines as supporting the studios or not, it just causes a lot of confusion and makes people like you afraid of accidentally breaking the rules. Exactly. You know, like, I want to be on their side, and I don't want to indirectly cross the picket lines. That was my biggest worry. But anyways, with that said, that should do it for today's episode of Animat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And with that said, I would like to say thank you all so much for joining me on this episode. And I would like to go and add, don't forget to go and subscribe to my Twitch channel, Animat Live, and to the Animat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel. And on top of that, don't forget to follow me on whatever podcast service you're listening to, rather it be on Spotify, Amazon, Google, or iTunes. And with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes.